I'm very glad to be standing here and to share my experience with all those who have a strong interest in digital humanities. So the topic today is a topic about BookNLP in the investigation of 18th century English fiction. And first, I want to introduce my research background. I come from the English department of Huazhong University of Science and Technology. So previously, I have been doing the adaptation of Robinson Crusoe and Gulliver's Travels from an anthropological and stylistic perspective. But I have always had a strong interest in quantifying research methods. But I wrote my doctoral dissertation around the year 2009. So at that time, there was not very much available NLP resources. But over the years, I'm very happy to see that a lot of other models which enables better application of NLP in studies. So I have to admit at first that I'm not a programmer. I never taken any classes, so I learned it by myself. I have to admit that I am a literary critic who happen to have a strong interest. So if there's anything, any problem with like the coding or any very common, ordinary, silly questions about my coding or programming, please just let me know that so that I can improve. Okay. So as I have been doing adaptation of Robinson Crusoe for children, and about 15 years ago, I have read more than a dozen different children's editions of Robinson Crusoe. I printed them out. You know, Robinson Crusoe is a very thick novel, and I read page by page at that time. I had the idea, how can anybody help me with this? Because when you're doing adaptation studies, you have to compare page by page to find out the drastically adapted pages and try to find out their differences. So I was in desperate need of another method instead of a very subjective interpretation of a literary scholar. So today I'm going to try to find out if topical model can be applied to literary analysis, and what's the difference of this application compared with its more commonly NLP tasks, and what we can propose to better apply topic modeling in literary studies. So this is the word cloud of LDA analysis of not a novel. It's not a literary text, but rather this is from an email that I just grabbed from my email box. So just from the word cloud, can you read anything, can make up a story or the message, what it is about. We have 5 topics here. So topic 1, service, cleaning, march, building floor. Topic 2, ask assistants, occupants, and this is notifying. Topic 3, dear occupant, building. Topic 4, cleared furniture, abstraction, service, crew, equipment, free, obstacle. I think by now it should be quite easy for you to infer that it is sending out a message about occupants of a building, right? To clear the furniture due to a scheduled service. So this is the original text. What I mean is that LDA is very capable of rendering topics for short messages, especially those about facts or about opinions. So with the word cloud, it's enough for you to infer the message before you even read the text itself. But if we apply LDA to Like this is the first chapter, LDA with word cloud. What can you see? We have fathers at go time. Second topic, ship, sea. Topic 3, wind, road, might, day, father. Topic 4, boat, ship, hand. Topic 5, the last one, father, mother, new ship, good. Can you make up the story? It seems much more difficult. We know who are involved, right? The father, mother, ship, sea. But what is the story? We have no clear idea of the message. So that is the problem, I think, the first problem with literary text. And second, what LDA at first renders, the output is in this form. That is a list of topic words, which is very difficult for the human eyes to make sense. And if I put it in the table, it's still no use. So usually the first way is to render it in a word cloud. That solves the first thing, how to visualize the LDA literary analysis. But again, the story itself is unreadable. And there's another problem about LDA in particular. That is when when NLP specialists, when they are facing the task of topical modeling, they do not know how many topics they are in. Like if you're trying to do topic modeling to all the Twitter messages in a year, no one knows how many topics there will be. So they have to find a way out, try to determine the number of topics, which is usually determined by two factors, that is the coherence score and the perplexity score. And usually based on these two scores, they can find out the most suitable number of topics and pass it as a hyperparameter to LDA model. But for literary analysis, this is quite different. So this table shows if we apply different number of topics ranging from 3 to 10. That is, we have 3 topics, 4 topics, 5, etc., until we have 10 topics, and their corresponding coherence score and the perplexity score. But you can see the coherence score is really very slight difference among them. So first of all, the two factors does not quite work in literary analysis. And second, I think most professors in the English department will not accept that you should give a number of topics to literary analysis, because we can easily imagine any novel. Maybe it contains 3 topics, maybe it contains 5, but no one would say, oh, there will be 15 or 20 topics, even if the algorithm tell me, okay, we have the optimized coherence score here. So usually coherence score and perplexity scores, I think, do not work in literary analysis. That's only the first step. And the second step is how to solve this problem with unreadable results, either in the table form, in the word list, or in word cloud. So what I propose is you try to use word2vec as the next stage of processing the results of LDA topics. So word2vec, the advantage is that it can map topical words into semantic spaces. That is to say, like we have different topic words here, like ship, thing, first, thought, make, a lot of words that, although they are clustered to different topics, but still their relationship is unknown. But word2vec can help us to arrange these words according to their semantic relation. That is to say, 2 words that are closely related to each other in meaning or in semantic meaning will be mapped nearer in the 3-dimensional space. So we have applied word2vec to the topic words. So altogether we have 5 topic clusters. The words in each topic cluster will be linked by a line, and the words from different topic clusters will be in different colors. So in this way, we see a little bit complicated, I don't know how to describe it, but we have so many lines, each with different colors. So what each color would indicate a different topic cluster. And we have 5 topic clusters here, so we have 5 different colors. And those words in the same color indicating that they belong to the same cluster. Okay, now as they are mapped to this space according to their semantic relation, we would naturally try to find out where they get close to each other or where they get most distant from each other. And what is more, if you take a look, you will find that the word thought is very unique in this rendering. As let's take ship for comparison. Ship is linked by 2 lines of different color, right? Green and purple, meaning it belongs to 2 topic clusters at the same time. But the word thought, 1, 2, 3, right? I think I got 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So it belongs to 3 word clusters, indicating that it is more commonly used, or it is more popular in all the word clusters. And we would naturally wonder why it is more important than all the other words in different word clusters. And in that case, we have to take the generic nature of Robinson Crusoe into consideration, because Robinson Crusoe is a novel very different from others. That is, for most of the time in the book, Crusoe is spending his time alone. And later on, he is accompanied by Friday, but in fact, there is still not very many people accompanying them, right? And which means Crusoe has been thinking and talking to himself for most of the time, not in discourse with other people. So this is, and by the way, Robinson Crusoe is part of the novel is written in a very diary form, right? That is, he writes what he has been doing these days. So in this diary-like format, he's trying to recount his experience, both at the time when he is seeing what is happening to him and at the time when he's writing the diary. So thought is indicative of a very common behavior to Robinson Crusoe. That is, he's always thinking about what I've been doing, what I have to do tomorrow. As I believe you all remember the famous scenario when he grabs some stuff from the shipwreck and he's thinking about, oh, okay, today is too late, the word is coming, but I still have to grab more stuff from the ship again. He's always thinking about today, he's always thinking about tomorrow. So thought has a particular importance in this novel. But maybe what I've just tried to explain is far-fetched. So after that step, I'm thinking about my old job of comparing different editions of children's edition of Robinson Crusoe. So I had an idea that why not compare the different editions of Robinson Crusoe through topic model? That is, will topic modeling be able to differentiate all the editions? Because I'm very familiar with these editions, and I want to know whether the algorithm can also be able to find out the difference. So this is a children's edition adapted by John Liang, published by TCEC Jack London in 1906. And this is the word to back. And you will see that the word thought has disappeared. I did it 5 times without assigning the seed. And I also, that is, try to avoid the random results in LD analysis. So that's the first one, and also tried another children's edition. This is the John Farrar edition published in the 1830s. So what these two editions have in common is that both editions are not very faithful to the original in the sense that they have tried to get rid of the moralistic teachings of Defoe's style, which is very popular in 18th century fiction, and try to be more objective, like use an external point of view, like a camera, to report what Robinson Crusoe has done. And sometimes this is accompanied by the narrator's comments of whether this is good or not, considering that the adaptation was published in the 19th century is also quite moralistic, but it's moralistic from another point of view. So I think that partly explains the disappearance of thought as a popular word in most topical words in LDA analysis of Robinson Crusoe. Okay, so far that is the analysis of 5 topics of LDA analysis of Robinson Crusoe. But what I'm trying to do, in fact, is not on a single work. I'm trying to map out or trying to find out if there is any significant change in literary history. So my first step of Robinson Crusoe LDA analysis is just to validate whether topic modeling can be applied to the study of fiction. And now it's time to move from a single work to literary history, but immediately the next problem is, as you can see, because LDA analysis of a single work, we have only 5 topics, or 6 or 7, okay, not many. But if you're doing this to the history, like the 18th century, I gathered 79 novels from the 18th century. That is to say, we have almost 80 novels, each with 5 topics. So how to read this topic? Word to vec can help us to read the LDA results of a single work, because we can read directly so many words there, right? But with 80 novels, each one of them has a word cloud. It's impossible. So this is just to show the results. So this is a table showing all the novels publication year, and the first, the second column. The second column is a list which the element of which is composed of, first of all, the topic ID. So this indicates that it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has 5 topics, 0, 1, 2, 6, 7, out of the 10 topics to get in total. And the second number is the topic weight. So how to read this form, and which should be combined with the reading of another one. That is the topics themselves. So this shows the 10 topics distributed in the 80 novels. So we should find another way to visualize these results. Okay, that is the corpus, and this is the distribution of the publication years to make sure that the 80 novels will fall as evenly as possible over the years, that there is no gap. And this is the LDA results of all the topics in these 80 novels. So how to visualize, how to analyze the result. The first step, I think, what I can think of is to draw a heat map. So here we have 10 topics for the 80 novels, from 1 to 10. These are the, so if you look at the x axis, this indicates the topic ID. So we have topic 1 here, topic 2, topic 3, all the way along the axis. And this, the y-axis is the novel index. Each novel has been assigned a unique index. So we have novel number 1 until novel 80. So all the heat map, all the block here indicate, like, take this one for example. So novel 62 has 1, that is topic 1 here, topic 3 here, topic 4, but does not belong to topic 4 and 5, 6. Again, it has topic 7 here. Well, the color indicate the weight of the topic. So the color, just now we were talking about 62. Okay, so novel 62, the most important weight, that is the most important topic for it, is topic number 7. And then it has topic 1, 3, and 4. So this shows the overall distribution and give you a panoramic view of all the novels and their distribution. And so if we take it overall, we can see that topic number 7, right, is very popular. And also that the first topic is also quite popular. And we can also see that topic 4 and 8, this is wasted because we just assigned 10 topics, meaning in fact, there are only 8 topics because not many novels fall in these 2 topics. That's the first step. And the second step, this is by period. So the first 10 years, second 10 years, third 10 years, each with the distribution of the topics of the novels and their topics. But again, this is only gives us a panoramic view. We have to try to look at it from other perspectives. So these are the changes of an individual topic. For example, this is topic 1. It's changed over the years, indicating it has a highest distribution here in the first 10 years, and then is dropped down, and again it's a slow rise and again dropped. But still, this is kind of messy. So I changed the way that is I put all the topics here together to see their relative rise and fall. And at this time, as you can see here, a particular topic has appeared. That is, it has been kept at a low point, but rises significantly in the last 20 years. So that will be the focus of my research. So what is that? This is the topic with the words find, cry, leave, hear, return, mind, answer, long, hard, father. But I have to admit that find is a very common verb there and does not indicate much, I think, matter with our novels. So the next word that comes into my view is cry, which is technically, I think, is differentiating among different novels. So this is the distribution of this topic in the novels by periods. And again, these are the novels that have this topic. So I think at this stage, we should look into the novels. So I have extracted those, that is, the novels with the highest weight of topic 0, that is the topic cry, and find out the matching novels are these ones. So indicating these novels, they have the highest topic weight. And then we have to go into these novels. So this is from Anne Conk. When you input cry, cried, crying, etc., and it will give you render out the context in which it is used. Like, pardon me, child, cries the doctor. There are some reasons. To be sure, cries the doctor, there may be other qualifications. My original intention was to see how these cries, the verb cry, is used in their context and what they indicate. Does it indicate strong feeling, or like it is used in ridicule? But something I found that maybe I was kind of wrong, because some of the cry does not have anything to do with emotion, but rather as like shouting. So again, I try to find out their frequency. So this is the frequency of the word nama, cry, that is with cries, cried, crying, etc. And their frequency in those novels with the highest topic score. But as you can see here, we have the absolute frequency, and this is the normalized frequency. That is to say, for the 1782 novel, Cecilia, it has a frequency of over 1,000, indicating, okay, it appeared too many times. But like in this novel, in 1761 novel, it appeared only 8 times. Still, this novel, with only 8 occurrences of the word cry, has been determined by LDA algorithm as having a very high score, a very high weight of the topic. So I want to find out why. So I have to find out whether cry really means cry, because cry has at least 2 different meanings. So the easiest way I can think is I want to find out the word associated with cry. So I use the tears, and then this is the chart. Okay, so this is the normalized frequency of the word tear, a cry, from in the 18th century. And as you can see, what you can find here, there's 2 periods that seem very particular. The first is with the 1760s, we have a high rise of crime. And again, in the last 20 years. While in other historical periods, relatively low. And this is tear. So what we can see that is cry has appeared drastically on the rise in the 60s and the 70s, and again on the 80s and 90s. Well, validated by the frequency of tears, although not as high, but still we can see that the years 60s and 70s and again 80s and 90s is special, the use of tears. So it proves some kind of phenomenon, that is the rise of the word, or the rise of topics related to cry or tears or strong emotion or whatever. Anyway, there is something behind it. And what I was suspecting is that whether it has anything to do with gender, what I mean is the gender of the author, as we know that the 18th century English fiction is largely written for the middle class, for the female readers. And we have lots of female writers and the male writers. So what I want to know is that whether this rise of the topic cry has anything to do with gender, the gender of the author. So I did topic model. So I separated my corpus into the male authors group and the female authors group, and I did topic modeling on each separately. And this is the result. And again, we have to, and again, I extracted the topic with cry. So this is their historical changes. So this is for the male authors, and that is for the female authors. Very surprisingly, you can see that the use of cry is very prominent in the 40s and 50s for male authors, and relatively low or very low in comparison in other years. Well, this is quite different for female authors who use topics related to cry very prominently in the last 20 years of the century. I think this indicates a gendered difference among authors who use cry, or their different preferences of this topic. So again, if we read this chart, we'll see that this X shape indicating the works by male authors, and the blue dots indicating the works by female authors. So overall, if you do not look at the shape, do not look at the color, overall they indicate kind of rise and then down, a little bit rise here in the 60s and 70s, and again into a very dramatic rise the last 20 years. But if we make a gender difference, we'll see that male authors contribute primarily to these periods, to the comparatively higher use of the topic, while female authors are chiefly responsible for its rise in the last 20 years. And we have, then again checked books with about literary history in the 18th century, and somewhat it proves my hypothesis in the LDA analysis of the literary history in the 18th century. And what is especially, it confirms my hypothesis is from a book that is about the novel of sentiment, and I think it explains this gendered difference in the use of strong emotions. So Baker has shrewdly pointed out that although sensibility was not the object with Richardson, who wrote to inculcate prudence and self-control, Richardson wrote mostly in the 40s and 50s. He's a male author. Of the English novel of sensibility, the way in which the novel feeling develops out of the Richardsonian novel of moral sentiment. So in the 40s and the 50s, when Richardson was writing his like Pamela or Clarissa, is full of moral sentiment, which is on the whole realistic and constructed on solid intellectual foundation. It's one of the most significant features of the whole sentimental movement in the 18th century. Indeed, it is because of this foundation, blah, blah, blah. It's still strong and vital for Richardson that is able to generate a genuine passion. So we have, again, many of the words supplement our prediction about the rise and the falls of the topic of related to strong emotions. A genuine passion of tragic dimension. But most of the novelists, so this is very interesting, that is, this is about the years following Richardson's writing period, that is starting from the 70s and well continuing into the 80s and 90s. Most of the novelists who succeeded him and who borrowed from him the stage machinery of their moral fables were inspired with no such conviction, which indicates a difference in the same movement, in the same sentimental movement of in the 18th century, but a difference in the use of passion. The trouble with the sentimental novelists of the last quarter of the 18th century is that with a few honorable but minor exceptions, because there are always minor exceptions even in my chart, they are morally and philosophically bankrupt. Their excess of feeling expands itself into a void. Oh, we can stop here of the end point. So I think what it is trying to say is that in the sentimental movement in the 18th century, there is a difference in the use of passion and strong emotions. And this can be differentiated without any prior knowledge of the 18th century literary history. So I think now the readings from the DH perspective somewhat will confirm what we have found as a literary critic. And what I'm going to do next is whether we can, because in the next chapter of my working project, I'll use BookNLP to do analysis of these fictions in the 18th century, and I accidentally found something further to confirm this finding. Is there anybody here have prior experiences working with BookNLP? Okay. Do you use? I know Mark used it before in Mac. You use it in a Windows system or a Mac system?
Linux.
Linux. Okay, then no problem, because I've been tortured by BookNLP in a Windows system, which at last I found a solution in the issue page of GitHub. Okay, so the results of BookNLP analysis of any input to text has 6 files, and one of them is especially useful here. That is, it will generate a superset file which contains the tokens, and it will categorize them into different classes. So I see that we have nouns of feelings, and we also have verbs of emotions here. So I extracted all the subclasses of noun feelings and verb emotions. But I want to give you a look of what it looked like in a supersense file. Okay, I think this one will do. So this is a visualization of all the subclass under the category of noun extracted from Robinson Crusoe. So here we have a noun of groups, noun of person. Sorry, I'll end up brief.
5 more minutes. We have time.
Okay. Noun of location, noun of communication, noun of time, and you can see there are different percentages. So I extracted the noun of let me see, a feeling here. And again, we have a subclass that is emotion in the verb class, and then visualize their proportion. So this is what we see here. The blue triangle meaning noun of feeling, and we have the red dots meaning that is verb emotion. And if we add up these 2 subclasses, which is indicated by the green line, dot line here, in the 18th century, again, we can see that we have a rise around the year 1750s and 1760s, and again, another rise here in the last about 20 years of the century, which also confirms with our findings in our LD analysis of this historical period. And I'm also quite interested in the gender differentiation of this. That is, whether this rise of the use of nouns and the verbs of feelings and emotions is also gendered. So this is the last visualization. It's a little bit complicated, but it's the same thing. Let me explain. So it's very interesting here that for the female authors, we have, this is the noun of feeling here. Nouns are feeling here for female authors. And this is the verb of emotions for female authors here. First, we see a difference in the use of these different subclasses, but after the year 1750, they changed place. The green dots went down. Well, the blue one got up. There's an interesting intersection here around 1750. And if you look at the male authors, it's also quite differentiated. That is, although the female authors' use of nouns and verbs of emotions and feelings are quite different. If you look at the male authors, it's here. male authors, red and yellow, is almost the same curve. It's almost the same curve, but it's for most of the time below the female authors use, except around these years. So I think if we use BookNLP, it to a certain degree also confirms the findings in LDO analysis. Okay, so that is all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Lee. And now we have a Q&A section or discussion section, and people from online can also participate. If you just write it in the chat, I can voice your question. Mark.
Yeah, thank you so much for this talk. I've got a number of questions. I'd be interested to talk to you about the more technical side of the presentation. I had a suggestion on the literary critical side, which is I wonder to what degree it would be worthwhile exploring the effects that you're seeing, not so much as something to do with gender, and something to do with, but instead is something to do with genre, because I think what you're seeing is gender as an epiphenomenon of genre. One of the things that strikes me about the novels, I don't know your corpus, but all of the novels, with a couple of exceptions that you listed, as really being representative of this increase of emotion that you're seeing, are Gothic novels, right? With the exception of the two Burney novels there, I think they were all Gothic novels. Even those two are deeply immersed in Gothic sensibilities. So I think one of the things that you're seeing change across the course of the century are some interesting generic shifts that, as I said, have an epiphenomenon with gender in that there are a number of very notable, highly canonical female authors writing Gothic novels in the century, for example, Burney and radically on the list. But I think putting together the results that you found, particularly the BookNLP results, with some genre theory in the 18th century, would be a fruitful way to help categorize the differences that you're seeing.
Yeah, thank you very much for your suggestion. Yes, I have to admit that it still needs a lot of fine tuning, and the first priority I think is to take a genre into consideration, because they're like Robinson Crusoe is an adventure story. Well, Tom Jones is quite different, and again we have the segment novels. So at first, when I was trying to build the corpus, I did not have any prejudice. All the novels, because 18th century's fiction, the corpus is not very easy to realize. So I got everything I can from ProQuest 18th century fiction online. I grabbed all the novels there. Didn't miss anyone. So if there is any missing or one particular genre that needs to be supplemented, I think I need to look into the list and try to find it from some sources elsewhere. But yes, definitely, I think the genre has also need to be marked there, as an important factor when visualizing all these changes. Thank you very much. Please.
I have a lot of questions about the technical work, but I guess one main question I was like, I think you touched on it a bit. How did you, what was the process of deciding on 10 topics when you were running the topic modeling? Because it seemed.
You mean about the number of topics, or why I assigned 10 topics? Yeah.
It seemed like there was quite a bit of overlap between them.
Yes.
And then when at the end with the heat map, where topic I think 8 didn't have anything for the books, I'm wondering about kind of what you see as having going on there.
Okay, thank you very much. As a matter of fact, I think I partly answered it, although not very explained in full detail. That is why there's a question. So first of all, I think the number of topics for any LD analysis of literary work is a little bit tricky, as it cannot be totally decided by coherence or perplexity. So that is kind of a trial and error. And I have to admit that I have run different number of topics ranging from 5 to 10, and also I tried 15 and 20, and I then compare the results. Of course, I know, because I can also try like more randomly number like 12 or 7, but for the sake of keeping it very neat, I just tried all the times of 5. And for those, maybe some of the topic space will be wasted. That is not a problem. But you have addressed a very important problem, that is the overlapping of topics with each other. And I found that this is it has nothing to do with the number of topics, but rather on the nature of LDA when it's dealing with literary works. Remember my example with the email notification of right? So if we're dealing with short, informative texts, usually the topics will not overlap with each other. But if you apply it to literary text, no matter which number you assign to the topic, you always got very overlapping topics. So I think that is a problem that needs to be solved in terms of an LP.
A methodological question that perhaps is in the same topic.
Yes.
Which is, did you run topic modeling in each single book and then sum them together, or you put all the books in the same corpus and then run topic modeling over this?
That is a good question. I ran LDA to all the books in the corpus, because at first I also tried to do LDA for each individual novel and try to compare their topics, but then I found it's impossible to compare, because all of them will render different topics, and each topic cluster will be composed of different words. So you can hardly say, okay, topic number 1 is exactly the same or very similar to topic number 7 in another novel. And if you have 80, or like my research project with the 19th century has over 500 different novels, that would make a lot of mess. So yeah, and I also have to thank Mark, because he gave me this suggestion when I encountered this problem of how to keep track of one topic in different novels. Yes, I did it in the corpus. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I have one thought also on the number of topics. So I'm thinking, can we have a metric to measure the collective coherence of the overall number of topics, and then we decide the performance, the number of topics with the best performance? For example, we can try topic modeling with 5 topics, 10 topics, and for example 15 topics and 20 topics, and then we can have a metric like we sum the coherence of all topics together and divide it by the number of topics, and then we pick the number of topics with the best collective coherence.
Yeah,
I
think that is a very good suggestion, and I did part of what you suggest. And this is I did not do it to all the corpus, but at first I tried it on a single work. So this is the result of the coherence score I did from 3 to 10. I think that is already enough for a single work. But I found that the coherence score does not differ very significantly. So I stopped there without trying, because I think it would be hardly convincing to say, like we have, if we have 10 topics here, it will be better than 9 topics, right?
Yeah. Is it also because the number of topics not very different from each other? For example, if you take 50 topics, I think it would generate that.
Yes, that's also a very good question. I believe maybe remember this is on a single novel, right? So what if the algorithm says, just a hypothesis, the optimized number of topics is 30, but it would be impossible to convince English professors that a single novel has 30 topics. So that is I think the problem between literary analysis and DH. That is sometimes algorithm what it can solve, when it can solve the question for NLP experts may not be the same thing in literary analysis, but yeah, but I think that is a good suggestion.
Another question on your analysis of Robinson and Crusoe. So I'm just curious, why do you use the vector space model to visualize the result of LDA topic modeling with word clouds? Because the 3 words you base in your following analysis can also be obtained by just looking at topic models with word clouds. What other important
The advantage of word to vect is that they can show us the semantic relationship between different words. While word cloud, the only difference we can see as a common reader is their different size with the different words, which indicate they have different weights, but there's no semantic relationship there.
Yes, I get this point, but because I think.
And also, it's more convenient if we can map everything, all the words, topical words in a single visualization, especially in consideration that what if we have many topics and many topic words, all there in a table, it would be impossible to make sense.
One last question. It's in your analysis. Of literary history by using LDA modeling. So, on the issue of multiple meanings of one word, I'm just curious. Are you considering incorporating some more recent techniques based on the context of words? I think
You're absolutely
that
right.
maybe that would like some.
When I was doing that, I had no idea. I know the problem is there. That is words with multiple meanings, but I didn't have the solution at that time. But now I think there is another way, that is because I found that when I was dealing with BookNLP, I found that it has, in fact, it does not analyze the input text by itself, but rather it uses the bird. And when you are analyzing, like, do you remember that we have a SuperSense file here? That is, I found that bird model is able to distinguish different meanings of the same word. So take the word cry as an example. And I have analyzed the word cry in all the classes, and I found that bird is able to distinguish the different meanings of cry. So sometimes cry is is determined by bird as a verb of communication. Sometimes it's a verb of body action, but sometimes it's a noun of feeling. Yeah, so bird is able to do that. But in my original work, I didn't incorporate bird model in BookNLP because I was still struggling with the BookNLP. But yeah, in the next step, I will use BookNLP to extract a single meaning of the word cry, which will make it more accurate.
Sorry, I think I'm taking too much time.
It's okay. Thank you.
Does anyone else have questions, thoughts?
I have a personal quest, which is instead of trying to detect when a word has multiple meaning, try to make the meaning the simplest as possible. Like forcing the data set to use synonyms to find easier comparison.
Yeah.
Because that will try to reduce this kind of artistic variability.
Yes.
And try to better compare what are the actual topic debated, what are the emotions to something. And so that is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. So I think topic modeling or LDA, including LDA analysis, is more about the content, the message of a given text, while the BookNLP or like the bird model is more special, is specially attuned to investigate the use of words, which is a formal analysis instead of a content analysis. That is why I think in the next step, if I combine the use of BookNLP